Power tools speed up your work, but power tools keep running no matter what happens. Until someone turns them off. Remember, the machine doesn't think. You do the thinking. Know the safety features on all power tools. All cutting machines have guards. Never remove them except when absolutely necessary, and be sure to obtain permission from the instructor. The guards are there to protect you. When you're working close to cutting edges, use a push stick. Different push sticks will help you with different kinds of work. Keep a good margin of safety between you and the blade. Never drill material when holding it by hand. You're asking for a serious accident. Make sure the work is secured. Beware of loose knots. They might fly out and cause an injury. Warped or twisted material should be faced and edge-jointed before sawing. In metalwork, know your metals and the cutting speeds required. If you have any doubt, ask for advice. When making any adjustment, be sure that the power is off. Attention to safety gives you confidence with power tools and machinery. At the drill press, as at any other power tool, dress defensively. Tie, rings, and watch off, and no loose clothing. Safety glasses should protect your eyes. Apply oil with a can or brush, but not with a rag. Vise, clamps, and any other devices and jigs you use should be placed and locked safely. Drilling wood does not mean that safety precautions can be relaxed or neglected. When you drill flat material, be sure the bit is centered over the hole in the table. Secure all the locks. And if the speed has to be adjusted, replace the belt guard properly. Clean up when you are finished with a brush. Never leave the key in the chuck. Never force a drill. If it binds, something is wrong. Something is unsafe. Check it. Different materials require different cutting edges. Only the correct one is the safe one. The grinder will help you to maintain your tools. Protect your eyes well. Have the safety shield in place and the tool rest at the correct angle. Hold small work in a vise grip. Place one hand on the tool rest so you can turn the work without losing support. The tool rest should always be set as close to the wheel as possible, just clearing it. A dirty or clogged wheel means danger. A loaded wheel tends to heat up because of the extra pressure required. To dress it, reset the tool rest so the heel of the dresser will hook over it, providing a safe guide. When grinding or buffing, the work should meet the wheel in the direction of rotation. When you install a new wheel, ring test it first. A clear sound indicates no cracks and solid bond. Never hit a wheel. This can weaken the bond or crack it. The jointer. The head turns at a speed of about 4,000 revolutions per minute. Each blade should be as sharp as possible. Never adjust the rear table, and you should be sure that the material to be planed is of sufficient size to be handled safely. Adjust the depth of feed in small steps. Too much at once will result in binding and kickback. With the machine off, check the blades for defects. Be sure to be familiar with the working of this machine. The stock should be fed to be cut with the grain and has to be free of flaws and foreign material. When feeding the stock, stand to the left, clear of kickback. Have a clean, non-slip footing. When your feeding hand might come close to the blade, use a push stick. Don't take chances that might cause an accident. Play it safe. The router is a hand power tool, but a power tool. The work should be clamped down securely. You'll need both hands to handle the machine. Wear a face shield, since chips will be flying. For the jigsaw, plan your work to avoid backing out of long cuts. Set the hold down to keep the stock firmly in place. When feeding the stock, keep your hands away from the blade. Use stock that is large enough. And never remove cutoffs until the saw has come to a stop. Before you start the bandsaw, set the guide as close as possible above the work. Let the saw reach full speed before you cut. Feed the material slowly and don't twist the blade. Support round stock firmly. Make your own jigs if none are available. Never try to cut stock freehand if it doesn't lie flat on the table. And don't bring your hands too close to the blade. Be sure to select the correct speed and blade for different materials, such as aluminum. And don't force a cut. Never remove waste before the saw has stopped completely. If you hear a clicking noise, it's probably a cracked blade. Turn off the power immediately and step back. The blade might break. Be careful when you open the wheel guards. The blade might spring out. The circular saw is potentially the most dangerous tool in the shop. Stand well to the left to avoid being hit by a board kicking back. Use a push stick to feed the stock past the blade. Be sure the material is flat on the table and that you have a firm grip. Set the blade so that a few full teeth extend above the stock to be cut. And make sure the guard is replaced. Make adjustments with the power off. Be sure the blade is stopped completely before removing any material, and even then, do not reach across the blade. All adjustments should be locked and checked before you turn on the saw. Let the blade come to full speed first. Hold the stock firmly against the fence. Avoid cutting freehand. Get a firm grip on stock and miter gauge. For multiple cuts, put a spacer over the fence to prevent the cutoff pieces from jamming as they go past the blade. Ask for advice before attempting any new technique. Be thoroughly familiar with the things that can be done. Do them safely. With both the metal or the wood lathe, as with all tools, safety has to be the first consideration. Dress safely. Loose sleeves rolled up. Wear safety glasses. In some cases, goggles or a shield are preferable. Don't let anything distract you, and don't distract anyone else. The dog, for turning between centers. Check it for the correct play. Secure all locks. Make sure the dog or chuck won't strike the carriage when it is in use. The work on your wood lathe should have the spur center solidly embedded. Material should be free of knots and cracks. The tailstock firmly locked. Check for proper clearance all around. Allow about 1/8 of an inch. Then lock the tool rest. Select turning speeds carefully. Use a low speed for rough cutting and for large diameters. Protection of your face, not only your eyes, is the safe way. Keep the cup center lubricated. When applying the oil, stop the machine, release the tailstock. Use an oil can and reset and check everything before restarting the lathe. On the metal lathe, if the center begins to squeal, back the tool off and stop the lathe immediately. A dry center can cause a serious accident. Use sharp tools, have a good grip, and solid support. The lathe should be stopped when you adjust or remove the tool rest. Sanding is done with the tool rest removed. Tighten the faceplate by turning it slowly. With the metal lathe, don't let cuttings grow too long, but never touch them with your bare fingers. They are hot and sharp. Get used to filing by standing to the right of the headstock, and do your filing left-handed, keeping the right elbow high. Never wrap abrasive cloth around the work. Use a wooden block when removing the chuck. Never at any time leave the key in the chuck. These are all simple rules. Follow them and work safely.